this video, I want to explain some Access terminology. For a lot of you, Access might be brand new, and Access has terminology that's kind of unique to it. So first, you might hear the word database. The database is the file that contains all of the other objects. Alright, so on your computer, you'll have a file or a database, and in there it contains your tables and queries and forms and reports. The next term is a table. A table is a list of related records. So let's say every list that you might have would be a different table here in Access. If you have a customers list, you'll have a customers table in Access. If you have an employees list, you'll have a different table for your employees in Access. So basically a table is a list of related records, and you can have as many tables in your database as you'd like. Now a record is a row in the table. It's going to be a row of information that makes up a transaction. Each different row is a different record or a different transaction. Now a field is one specific piece of information. Maybe it's going to be name, address, telephone number, something like that. Relational database is when two or more tables can be joined together on a common field. So what we can do in Access is we can build reports or queries that involve more than one table, and the key to a relational database is that they're going to have a common field. You're going to join the tables in the common field, and then you can use the fields from either side. Later on, there'll be additional videos about the relational database and how to actually make that happen in your Access database. We have a query. Here it says a query is a question for extracting information. A query is a search that you do on your table based on criteria. Let's say you have an employees table, and the employees table has all of the records, all of the employees. Let's say there's 500 employees, then you would have 500 records in the employees table. That's the full data set. But let's say you only want to see a list of the employees that live in Pennsylvania or that live in Texas, or you only want to see the open orders. Then you make a query with that criteria, and then it would show a partial listing of the table with only those records that meet that criteria. So a query does come from at least one table, and then it's only going to show the records that meet the criteria. We're going to do a lot of queries in the next couple videos. A form is, here it says, an interface between users and the database. So a form is a data entry screen. So the user can import data, look up data. We can make the form very user-friendly. We can make menus in our forms. The form is really the user interface. Then we have reports. You probably know what a report is. You might even use them in your daily job. So Access has a very good way to make reports, and we can make reports with subtotals and grand totals. We can make reports that look good. They have your own mathematical formulas. You know, there'll be at least a couple videos about how to make reports in our system. But really, the report is kind of the finished product of your database. It's where you can have labels or show the data in a really nice way. A macro is a small little program that can automate your different steps. Let's say on a daily or on a weekly basis, you're running one query and then running another query and then running another query, and then maybe running a report at the end of all that. Well, what you can do with a macro is automate those steps. So instead of that being 4 steps the next time, it would just be 1 step. And the 1 step will be to run the macro, and then that takes care of everything else. Another reason that you use a macro is to always do those steps in the exact same order. So the macro is all about automation. There'll be videos about how to utilize macros. Then we have modules. Macros are pretty easy to write. You don't have to have any programming experience to write those. With modules, however, they're written in a language called VBA, which is Visual Basic for Application. So you do need to know a little bit about programming to work with your modules. Modules allow you to do a lot of customization, a lot of special things with your database, perhaps that macros can't do. And the modules are also about automation and user friendliness. But you do need to know a little bit about modules, a little bit about programming in Visual Basic to make your modules. Now I want to make a note here. You do not have to know anything about programming to make an Access database. You can make an outstanding database without even writing one line of code. However, if you want to go a little bit further and customize your database and make it do special things, then you might need modules. Then sometimes you hear about the SQL language or the SQL language. SQL is also pronounced SQL. It's an acronym. It means Structured Query Language. So in different videos I'll show you how to work with SQL code here, and then also how to integrate with SQL databases. Now the thing is, again, you don't have to know this the SQL language to work with Access. When we make queries, it has a visual interface, and that makes the SQL code for us. But if you know that code, perhaps you can go a little bit further. Then there's something that's called an ODBC. ODBC is an acronym. It means Open Database Connectivity. And basically that's the standard for all databases, or for most databases are ODBC compliant, and that means they can talk to each other, they can share data with each other, and Access is an ODBC compliant database. So it can share data with other ODBC databases like SQL Server, Oracle, JD Edwards, SAP, MySQL, SAS, Mass90. All of those are ODBC databases, and they can share data with Access. So there's some basic terminology for you that you're going to use as you're discovering Access.